Hey guys, so in this video we're going to be learning how to be able to cook and prepare quinoa. So a little bit about quinoa to get us started. So quinoa is a grain that comes from Ecuador, and the grain is actually going to be prepared differently than how we prepared our last two grains, the oatmeal and the rice. So quinoa has another protective layer on top of it. So it has the phytic acid, which the phytic acid is anti-nutrients around the grain that when eaten, it'll prevent us from actually getting all of the minerals or all of the nutrients out of the grain. It'll bind them together, and so we won't get them into our body. So that's something that we want to be able to stop, because that also disrupts our guts, intestines, and such. And so on top of having just that, it also has a chemical called saponins, or soap, that is around the grain. And so yeah, we're eating soap if we are not preparing this dish correctly. And so the ratio that we're going to be using for the quinoa is that we're going to actually be using a 1-3-3-3-1 ratio. So we're going to be using 1 cup of our quinoa, we're going to be using 3 cups of water, and then we're going to be using 1 tablespoon of our neutralizer. Now for oatmeal and rice, the ratio is 1 cup of the grain, and then 2 cups of water, and then 2 tablespoons of the neutralizer. So 1, 2, 2. So quinoa is different for the specific reason that because it has those saponins around it, and so it needs to be prepared in a different way, the 1-3-1, in order for us to be able to neutralize it and to be able to also get rid of it. Because right before we cook this, after it's done soaking, we're actually going to rinse the grain and get all that soap away, and then we'll cook it up. And that'll be later on in this video. So, but for right now, I'm going to show you what we're going to do to be able to prep it. So, what you need is you're going to need your quinoa. Okay, you're going to need a cup measurement. You're going to need your whey right here. Now you can use whey, you can use buttermilk, you can use kefir, you can use yogurt, so an acidic solution. You can even use apple cider vinegar or lemon juice. If that's what you have on hand, or if that's what you prefer. If you don't do well with dairy, that's totally fine. So we just need an acidic base for the quinoa to be able to soak in, because that's what's going to start to pre-digest and also to strip down, number 1, the saponins, number 2, the phytic acid, right? And then you're going to need a glass container. So you can either get a mason jar, if you'd like, with a lid on it, or you can get a glass container that also has a lid on it. So these come in very handy. Alright, so let's go and get started. So I'm going to get 1 cup of quinoa. I'm going to pour that out real quick. Perfecto. I'm going to pour that into our bowl. And then I'm going to pour my water in. So I actually have warm water here. Yeah, like almost like warmer than what you would just guess, like a warm, lukewarm water, a little warmer than that. The reason behind that is because with our grain, what we're trying to do is we're trying to let them open up, and we're trying to let them be able to release the enzymes and the nutrients that they have contained within them. So adding warm water helps them to be able to open up and be able to spread, and open up and be able to relax. And also by doing that, it also helps out with the pre-digestion of the grains, and helps out with the neutralizing of the phytic acid. So it's very important that you warm up your water. So I've got 3 cups here. I'm going to pour that, move this aside, pour that over the top of our quinoa. Okay, and then we'll take our whey that we have here, and we are going to add just 1 tablespoon. Do a little bit more just because that wasn't the full one. There we go. 1 tablespoon. And I like to go and take an opportunity to just kind of swirl it around, make sure that the water gets onto all the quinoa, not a lot of it's floating on top. There we go, and also so I can make sure that the whey gets mixed into the water pretty effectively. Okay, here we go. So now that we have that, what we're going to do is we're going to just take our lid, we're going to put it on top, Then we're going to let it sit on our counter for 12 to 24 hours. I recommend 24 just because, once again, the longer we can let it sit, the more that phytic acid and that soap that we can get off of our quinoa, and the easier it's going to be on your digestive system and your tummy. So that's it. We're going to take this, we'll set it, and we're going to set it on the counter. Alright everyone, now we're going to go ahead and cook up our quinoa. So we've let it soak for 12 to 24 hours. So we've done 1 cup of quinoa, 3 cups of warm water, and we've done 1 tablespoon of our neutralizer in order to be able to get this quinoa ready to go. So now our next step is that as you cook quinoa, it's a little bit different way. Once again, we have our oatmeal porridge, we have our rice, the casserole, and now also we have quinoa, which does fall into the porridge area, but it has its special exemptions. And of course, that other special exemption is that it has that lining, that soap lining that comes off, and so we soak it in order to be able to actually soak it longer in order to be able to get as much off as possible. And then of course we have to actually rinse the rice. We can't, or the quinoa, we can't just pour it in here like we do with our rice and such. We actually have to rinse it because we're literally rinsing off the soap. So that's what we're going to do today. Alright, so first thing first, we're going to take this. This is the quinoa inside this container. Alright, I'm going to open it up. Perfect. Alright, open it up, and then we're going to take it. And I've got this right here. I'm going to move it over to there later to be able to really rinse it off. And I let this one sit out a lot longer, so it's actually a little brown on the top, but that's totally fine. It didn't get to the quinoa. Quinoa is nice and safe under the neutralizer water, which is one of the reasons why we do this. So I'm going to pour it in here just so you can kind of see me doing it. So there it goes. Pouring it in. Perfect. And it will start to stick. So once again, I just recommend that you grab yourself a nice little spatula. Now we're going to go ahead and just pour it in there. Yeah, I can definitely smell the soap. And I can also smell the other brown liquid, or the kind of mold that was on top. Don't worry, that's totally fine. You're going to wash it off, you're going to cook it off, you'll be totally fine. Don't worry about it. Sometimes it freaks people out, but it's nothing to worry about, okay? You're going to be fine. So we're going to take this, we're just going to go over the sink. So I'm over here at the sink. Hey, just listen for a little bit. Alright, we're going to take this, we're just going to soak it off. Alright, so you're going to run underneath the sink real quick. Just run underneath, make sure you get everything out. Yeah, I recommend running underneath warm water. Once again, we're working with this whole warm concept with our grains. Okay. Bring this back over now. See? Ta-da! We now have this nice quinoa. And what we're going to do... Well, that just fell in there again. Real quick rinse. Alright, so now we have that all rinsed and ready to go. So now what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and put it in here, and then we're going to fill it with our liquid. Alright, 2 cups. This time we are going to put 2 cups of water, or 2 cups of bone broth. I have bone broth with me today, chicken bone broth. So that's the 2 ways that you can do it for the casseroles, is that you can either do 2 cups of water, or you can either do 2 cups of bone broth. Bone broth is delicious, and once again it helps to be able to strip it of those phytic acids. Alright, one more time, and I think I'm going to get it this time. Okay, I have a better idea. I'm not even going to put it down. Okay, here we go. So now I'm just going to go ahead and take this, plop it in there. Now I don't care if it falls down. That works. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and measure out my 2 cups of the bone broth. So, specific brand, organic chicken bone broth. And I'm just going to fill it up to the 2 cup line. There we go. Almost there. Perfect. Alright. And I'm just going to pour it into my pan, just like I would with water. Once again, if you don't have bone broth, use water. It's the easiest one to use, in all honesty. Perfectly fine. Alright, I'm going to pour a little more in there. 2 cups, just 2 cups for you. This is me, this is... So yeah, okay, we got that now. Now we're going to cook it just like we would rice. Alright, so we're going to go and turn on the oven, or our stove, and we are going to bring this to a boil. That's what we want to do. So, turn it on and we're going to wait for it to now boil up. Alright guys, now we're back and our quinoa is now coming up to a boil, which is good. Now once again, as with our rice and everything like that, what we have to do is we need to skim this scum or this foam off the top. So, we got this foam that starts to emerge as we're cooking this. It's coming from the quinoa, it's also coming from our bone broth right here. And so what we just need to do is skim it off, because this scum, as much as people strive, the companies strive to be able to clean the quinoa and such like that, there's still going to be some kind of scum or some kind of dirt or filthiness in it. And so this film on top is actually that, and we're getting rid of that. We're kind of doing the final stage of cleaning. So it's coming off now. So we are going to go in. And once again, I have my skimmer. And this is a beautiful thing to use. You could also use just a spoon as well to be able to skim this off. Just get yourself any kind of spoon. I can show you that real quick. Reach over here. Just get yourself any kind of spoon, and then reach in there, and then you pick up the foam. So you can see a little bit of that right there. Put it in there. Now it is a little bit harder, I will say, and you do end up getting some of the water or broth or whatever mixture you have going on. So that's why I prefer a skimmer. This is a fine mesh skimmer right on the bottom there. It's beautiful, and you can get it in there, and you don't lose any of the broth. You just get the foam on top. Once again, it's far enough away too that if you're using a short spoon like that one right there, I was actually getting very close to the heat, so that was really wasn't nice, feeling that heat and feeling the burn. So I'm just going to skim across the last little bit. Just going to go around the corners real quick. Alright. Once again, this is the point where... So now as we get there, this is the point where we're going to be putting our lid on, and we're going to just let it cook. There we go, it's just like that. Oh. Right. There it was. So now we're just going to put the lid on. We're going to let it sit and cook. We're going to turn the temperature down to the lowest one you can, so simmer. I have it down on 1 on my oven, and we're going to let this cook once again for 45 minutes to an hour. Now, of course, rule of thumb once again with anything that happens to do with soaking is that the longer you soak something, the faster it's actually going to cook. So with this, it could take 45 minutes to an hour, or it could even take less, just depending upon how long I soaked it. But it's also going to, if you do cook it the same amount of time, even though it's soaked longer, it's going to be very nice and soft. It's just going to have a beautiful texture, and that's what this is going to come out to be, I'm guessing. So we're going to let this cook, and then once it's done cooking, then we'll see the end results, and we'll see how it looks and what we do with it next. Alright everyone, so our quinoa is actually finished up. So I've taken the lid off here, and I now have my quinoa right here. And as you can see, what you can do is you can take a spoon, you're just going to stir it up, and we're going to whip it up, make it nice light and fluffy, just like our rice or any other casserole dish that we make. So there it is. It's beautiful. It's really soft this time around because, once again, I let it soak for over the 24 hours. That is the usual for people to soak. So actually, let it soak for a couple days. So it's nice and soft. And that bone broth has really added some color and some flavor to this dish, and it's ready to go. So you can just eat it on its own, or you can use it to build stuff like bell peppers, or add it to a dish, or put chicken on with some nice gravy or sauce like that. That sounds really good, actually. So do that, or if you're gonna eat on your own, and then setup, you want to make sure that you put good fats on top of it. So when I talk about good fats, I'm talking about things like you can put coconut oil. I've got some Nutrigold coconut oil right here. I also use OGO brand. Those are really nice ones that I like to use. So coconut oil is an option. My favorite by far though is definitely Kerrygold butter. That is my favorite to be able to put on top of this. It's just so delicious, got great flavor, and of course having that butter oil inside your diet is amazing. Grass-fed butter actually helps to neutralize more of the anti-nutrients and phytic acid inside of our grains and legumes, so it's a very good choice. You can also put ghee and any kind of good fat on top of that, so a saturated fat that you enjoy. So you can even do olive oil if you wanted to, as long as you don't heat this up too much, because it's one of the middle of the line fats. So yeah, there you go. So good luck guys on making up your quinoa. Hope you enjoy it, and I wish you good health.